$300 refund when there's a minimum student contribution factored in for every student.
That's where the confusion's lying. There is no minimum student contribution in the situation of the Gates Scholars. There's no minimum student contribution being factored in, because even if we award our institutional grant money on the minimum student contribution of $2,500 and everything else, and the FAFSA EFC were zero, then in theory, our grant would be $40,000, let's say, and then Gates would cover up to that federal EFC.
Yeah. So when Yosef and Jenny emailed me, one of the questions directly was, Emory should make Gates aware of the $2,500 so that we can factor that into our award. They do that. They make us aware. And that's what I'm saying, the agreement that we have now going into our third year this fall is we make up that difference. We basically put that $2,500 back on the table so that you guys never pay whatever it is they come up with as that difference. So, for instance, my first introduction to this 3 years ago was one of your fellow scholars who had a federal methodology FM contribution of $86, right? Emory came up with a $10,000 family contribution. And I got on the phone and I was like, you gotta be kidding. You've got to be kidding. And that was the first time I got on the plane and flew down, because I could not understand how a student could go from an $86 FM to a $10,000 IM. I sat down with that case and they walked me through their methodology. And I got it. I didn't agree with it, but I got it. Which then led to our saying to them, fine, you do that, because Emory has to balance its overall budget in particular ways. How can we take that onus off the table for Gates Scholars? Do you guys have any problem making up the difference? So we are able to send them, for that student, $9,924. 14, sorry. Wrong day. $9,914 extra.
Okay, so we would so does that means that we received all as scholars the $2,500?
Yes. The shorthand way of thinking about it is yes. In essence, the better way of thinking about it is the $2,500 does not count against you. This means you actually get it in your hand. It doesn't count against you.
It doesn't exist at 2,500, and that's what I was trying to get.
So, if let me go back to the example that we had before. Let's say that same student with $2,000 family contribution. If Emory had put in the $2,500, you would have a $4,500 contribution. You still have that $2,000 family contribution, but we've made up the other $2,500.
What about with zero?
Okay, so if you're zero EFC, if all of the factors were there, it is possible to get a $3,300 refund, right? But let's talk about what all the other factors are, and this is the other place where we have. So you've got to look at it as fixed costs. One of the big fixed costs, and again, another piece of the email that we got was around the question of housing and adjustments to your cost of attendance. And one of the questions that I got directly this afternoon was, well, what happens if a student decides to do a super single? I'm a Gates Millennium Scholar, I can choose a super single. I said, no, this is not a lifestyle scholarship. I love all y'all, but I am not paying for your lifestyle. This is not Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous, okay? And the other thing that's important, and there's really a real reason behind that, aside from, I'm cheap. But there is clear research that shows having a roommate is beneficial to your integration to the community on campus. And students who have that experience in the freshman year are retained and they graduate at higher rates. And I am all about y'all graduating from college, because I'm getting old and I want my Social Security. So there was a question in the back, and I'll come forward.
In terms of housing, when I was at the Oxford campus originally, and I didn't get housing when I came here, so I looked into living off campus, and I actually found that I can live off campus and it's cheaper than living in Claremont when I get, and I can walk to school rather than pay for a parking permit. When I get my financial aid reward, is the price of living off campus included in my reward?
It is.
Yeah.
But, but, all of you have in your financial aid award pieces of this that are called the budget. Remember from that little book where we talked about the budget? It's really important for you to know from Mr. Lips what the budget is. Because, great example, we had a scholar at NYU, graduate student, and she decided that she wanted a single apartment in the East Village. Kerchink. 5 years later, when she finished her doctoral program, she looked around, she had $100,000 worth of loans because she was living large, and my girlfriend had nice digs in the East Village. The problem is that that monthly rent was above her budget. So what you are finding is, because you get a check from the institution, right? Is that I'm able to manage my costs for the apartment and heat and water and all that stuff, which is all built into that budget for living off campus, more efficiently than I would living on in Claremont. The Claremont came up as a conversation today. We're paying the difference. Second thing you can take home,
Except off-campus, off-campus we'll stick with the same basic
Yes.
budget. Because your off-campus living expenses are very unique specifically to your situation. It would be an impossibility to go through and make your budget specific to the next person, But it will be it's built in, because that total cost does include food and housing, which is your estimated amount to then be used as you go out.
And just throwing out there, I'm guessing you all live on campus, but if you live off campus, you're eligible for food stamps. Me and my roommates all have food stamps, so just throwing out.
She's found a way to stretch all kinds of stuff. But the point is, what we learned was that the normal experience for students is you leave your freshman housing and you go live in Claremont, right? Claremont, from what we're understanding, is a little bit more expensive than the typical housing budget. Well, if it's a normal experience to go from your freshman housing into Claremont, we want you guys to have that experience.
Sophomore to Claremont.
Sophomore to Claremont, excuse me, sophomore to Claremont. So, sophomore to Claremont.
So now you're
Again, you can't go sophomore to Claremont. I want a townhouse by myself with the grill out back, and, the deck furniture and all. You have a roommate. It's the normal, typical experience of going from sophomore to Claremont. If there is a difference in the budget, Gates will pay for it.
And that was not the case before?
That has not been the case before. Up to this year,
So
that it's
College, and this is very unique to Gates specifically, and it's not, the college does not do budget adjustments. They do not do budget adjustments.
But you're saying to me, Claremont is where juniors and seniors are assigned to stay.
That's another conversation. Yes, it is. That's where they're for juniors and seniors. They do have an option as a junior and senior students to have an option to stay on campus, on the main campus,
Oh,
in a
for the
double,
regular budgeted amount.
to stay within that.
I see.
Yeah,
I
so
see.
that is an option that is available.
Right. So whatever option you guys exercise as juniors and seniors, GMS will fund whatever the difference is in terms of your housing. Again, as long as it is within those boundaries of the typical doubles.
Basically, the most uncomfortable arrangement available in Claremont is what you'd be looking at, not the mega double apartment, 4-bedroom with two
Oh,
people.
okay, I got 3 roommates.
With the
I was like,
tower,
okay, what do you mean?
You just look, if you look at we'll have to look, this was kind of hammered out
Yeah.
like an hour ago, so that